All right, everybody, we are back. It's another episode of the Sports Clash. Rich Arleo here with your boy Chris Carey. Chris, how you doing, bud?
Good man. With your boy. I like that.
Yeah, gotta act like I'm not close, nearing 40 years old, so gotta get the slang down.
You're almost an old. None old yet.
I'm getting there. I'm getting there. But I mean, I had a
Maybe
phenomenal
there.
Sunday just mowing the lawn and, getting my property ready for the season. Tomorrow I
Oh,
gotta lay down the Scott's turf builder, whatever it is.
Turf
Yeah.
Builder Plus. Feed your lawn. Feed it.
Feed
Right?
it. Yeah, that Scottish guy.
Love that guy.
Yeah, yeah. So that was it. I had a good weekend. My son, who isn't quite four yet, had a kickball opening day where they had with the little league. Next year it'll be t-ball, but this year he didn't quite make the cutoff for t-ball, so they did kickball, which was fun. I mean, it gets him out there, gets him to be on a team, run the bases, kind of get the concept down. So it was fun. It was fun. He had two good kicks. He ran in the right direction, knew what he was doing.
That's
Not
good.
does not like fielding. Not a fan of fielding.
Eh,
You just
yeah.
gotta stand out there. The ball goes. There's two kids are running for it. Like, go get the ball. Like, no.
Future DH. Let's go.
Yeah, future day DH for sure. But yeah, it's a good weekend. How was your weekend?
It was good. Ohio State spring game. Future's bright.
Mm.
Chip Kelly on the sidelines. Super pumped. We
Oh
got like
boy.
4 5-star quarterbacks in the quarterback room. Embarrassment of riches without Nick Saban and Jim Harbaugh in college football. So
Oh boy.
uh spring game's always fun. And then today, Jackson Holiday's first hit, baby. Let's
Oh, we
go.
finally got one?
We finally did it. I think
Wow,
it
took
took
them long enough.
14 at bats or whatever, but it couldn't have come at a better time. Avoided getting swept by the swept by the Brewers, and
That's the term.
avoided our first sweep since 2022. So happy
Wow.
about that. Jackson, let's
Very
go.
nice. Well,
His dad
regular.
was sitting next to
Yeah.
Cal in the stands today. It was great.
Oh, wow, that's huge. First sweep since when? 2022? Regular season, right? Because you guys got swept out of the
Wait.
playoffs last year.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh,
the regular
oh,
season.
oh, oh.
Sorry, I have no business taking that shot right now.
Totally fine. Totally
Although
fine.
first place, 14-3. You guys catching us? You guys gonna catch us?
Oh, you're talking about the Yankees. Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah. I should have realized that's like 75% of what comes out of your mouth. The other 25 is the Knicks or whatever.
I
But
just
yes,
yeah, I
you
just
look
completely
good.
made
You
up
look damn
14
good.
and 3, by the way. I think we're 12 and 4, but it's
That was
close.
good. That sounded too good to be true. It
But
really did.
12 and 4 is pretty good. You guys are 9 and 6.
9 and 6. Yeah.
The Red Sox are somehow 9 and 7. Ugh. They're
Don't get
always
it.
they're
Don't get
always
it.
better than people expect. Like they're never awful. Even though they were a last place team last year, they were probably the best last place team in the bigs.
Yeah.
You
No,
know
they
what I
finally
mean?
got a. I
They're never
mean,
a pushover.
yeah. I think they unplugged their lineup a little bit, getting rid of Verdugo and Bayo looks like the truth. Like they've got some good pieces, but I don't expect it to last. I hope not.
No, I don't think so. I mean, well, there's a guy I want to talk about a little later, but we'll get to that.
Garrett Whitlock.
No, but he's a good one. He's a good
Okay.
one. But yeah, I mean, you mentioned football, but we are not ESPN. We're not going to talk about the Cowboys for the next 2 hours because we are right in the middle of baseball season. We are the NBA bracket is all set. NHL playoffs start next week. A couple more games to go. My Isles are looking good. They're probably going to be in it. Um, I don't know if they clinched yet, but they're right there. So it's exciting times right now. I
I'll
mean,
always say, and I'm not a huge follower of the NBA or the NFL or NHL, but playoff hockey and playoff basketball, they are worth tuning in for from round one to the very end. They are
yeah,
fantastic. Their seasons are too long. And yeah,
yeah,
playoff basketball and playoff hockey in my adult life, I've grown very, very fond of. And this is a great part of the year.
yeah. Fun to watch. Maybe place a little wager if you're not you don't have a horse in the race. I know your Devils are it's been a rough year for your Devils. I know you're heartbroken over that.
Yeah, we started fighting
consolable.
everybody at the end of the year.
Yeah, well, that happens in hockey. It's, you know,
Frustration. Yeah. No, I like not having a vested interest. I think it's more fun that way. Of course, I'll be
yeah,
pulling for LeBron and the Lakers, but that's just because I love
yeah.
LeBron.
My Knicks clinched the 2 seed in the East. I am very
Oh, I forgot.
excited. I know
I
it was
forgot.
yeah, come on,
My
let's go.
bad. I forgot I'm supposed to be a Knicks fan.
We'll get to the bracket. Um, but I want to start out with the big news story that's been going around. A lot of people are kind of all have their takes on it, and I know we have some conflicting takes. And I didn't want an episode to go by without touching on what's been going on in Major League Baseball with all of these top flight starting pitchers getting hurt, going down with elbow injuries.
Yeah, everybody's arms falling off.
Everybody's arms are falling off. You have some aces, Spencer Strider, young Braves ace, out for the year, Tommy John surgery. Shane Bieber, Cleveland Guardians ace, who looked phenomenal early on. Maybe he was overthrowing because he's done. And he was in a walk year too, so he was clearly pushing it. Framber Valdez of the Astros, I believe he's done as well. Yuri Perez on the Marlins. You got a lot of guys. I mean, other guys down with no confirmed Tommy John surgery, but elbow issues. I mean, Garrett Cole is one. Nick Pivetta on the Red Sox.
I have this
Um,
whole
yeah, it's a problem. It's a problem.
Shohei, Alcantara, Robbie Ray, Walker Bueller,
Oh, you got the whole
Sandy
list.
Alcantara, Shane Baz, Justin Verlander.
A lot
We're
of
in the midst
guys.
of an injury epidemic.
Yeah. Now, when there's a problem like this, everybody wants to know who's to blame. Where do you point the finger? And the big thing that everybody wants to talk about now is the pitch clock. Oh, the pitch clock is hurting guys. They get throwing too fast. They're not ready for this. They need time to throw 99 miles an hour. They can't be just winding up and going. What do you think about it? I want to hear your take and what you think is causing all of these injuries.
Just from your tone and the way that you approach this, I feel like we're going to fall very far on opposite ends of the fence here.
I believe we
Um,
will.
but yeah, I blame the pitch clock. I blame Rob Manfred, and I'm happy that he's going to be out of the game here soon. But yeah, no, we have a lot of injured starters, and anybody in fantasy who invested in Spencer Strider early in the second or third round, feel
Don't
bad
do it.
for you, but
Yeah.
never invest in a pitcher,
Yes.
especially
Agreed.
these days when people are throwing harder than they've ever thrown and their bodies can't necessarily keep up. But with that in mind, the fact that that's happening is good for baseball, and baseball wants people to throw as hard as they fucking can on every pitch and spin it as fast as they fucking can. For Amazon Web Services or Google Cloud or whoever does their data now, they want to see those spin rates, they want to see that velo, they want to see that type of stuff, and you're judged as a pitcher that way. I think that's really wrong, and it sucks because there's so much more data and so many more analytics on things in terms of like how far you spin the ball. Like, come on now. If you strike the guy out, it shouldn't matter, right? But it goes into your spin rate, it goes into your whiff rate, things like that. So I do blame the pitch clock for a lot of this stuff, though. I do think that it's something that at the end of the day, we haven't studied enough. We don't know enough, but the human aspect of it, there's a reason managers used to come out and talk to their starter about fishing and tell them that their friends think that they stink or something, just to kind of delay the game or whatever and give them a second to recollect. We don't really have that anymore. And with the disengagements rule, with the pitch clock, and it being lowered this year even too, there's just not enough stuff out there that tells me that this isn't the culprit when we've seen an uptick in elbow injuries substantially over the last couple of years. Um, I will say it may not all be the pitch clock, but it may be changes to pitching in general, from the mound visits to the disengagements to the sticky stuff. I remember Tyler Glass now came out and said that he has to hold the ball differently. A bunch of guys said they will hold the ball differently. Pete Fairbanks was pissed off at the balls in Colorado. They use a tacky ball over in Japan and Korea that helps them spin the ball more, I guess. So I believe that coupled with the pitch clock is the cause for the injuries that are happening in baseball. And I think it's just asinine for Major League Baseball to not listen to the players union. Tony Clark came out with a quote, very upset with Major League Baseball. Major League Baseball just kind of dismissed them. Garrett Cole said they were two divorcing parents fighting over the kids. Like it was just not. It's just not a fun situation right now because everybody wants somebody to blame, and I do think that a lot of these changes are to blame. Strider said before he got hurt, a month before he got hurt, that the league is making rule changes despite an injury epidemic and very well could be encouraging injuries. And there's just not enough data on it.
Yeah.
Pete Fairbanks spoke out about it. Garrett Cole, Spencer Strider, Glass now with the sticky stuff a couple years ago. I mean, your players are your business, and I think you should listen to them a little bit more. So I err on the side of I think, and I thought this right when the pitch clock was instituted, that there's just not enough rest and recovery time. There's just not enough rest. If a guy needs a second, if he just needs a freaking second to walk around the mound, to collect his head, to let his arm hang to the side for a second or whatever, he should get that. And it shouldn't be his body. That's the cost of, what we're doing to shorten games, to placate to advertising and the, casual fan or whatever. His body shouldn't be, the pitcher's body shouldn't be sacrificed for that.
Right. Right.
Essentially.
So
That's where I stand.
So you hedged a little bit there. You're very good at hedging. I've seen you
Thank
betting.
you. Appreciate it. I should do it more.
Yeah. And fair.
For
to me, there's a pie of who to blame, the pie chart. And the pitch clock to me is a very small sliver in a multitude of
a
reasons.
Venn diagram, maybe.
Yeah. I think it's a very either way, one of those charts. It's a very small to me, small contributor to an uptick. Yes, sure, but not really the most dramatic uptick that we've seen in these Tommy John surgeries. That came back in 2012. I think, for years you were averaging, 14, 15 or so pitchers getting Tommy John surgery a year, which sounds like a lot. 2012, it jumped up to just below 30 guys needed Tommy John. And that's kind of when you saw, just everything was, steroids were being eradicated. You're caught now, and there's more of an emphasis on velocity, and we've seen it over the past decade now. You used to see one or two guys throw in the league throw 99. For a while it was Chapman throwing 100 and that was it. Now everybody does it. Everybody comes out and is throwing 99, 99, 100. They're pushing it too much. And I get that it's kind of, you have to, but you saw that uptick in 2012 and it's kind of been steadily, above 20. We've seen it go down a bit, 2016, 2017. I think they were starting to mitigate. I think you were starting to see the tacky stuff that people weren't talking about. And then we got rid of the tacky stuff, spider tack, whatever. Stuff starts to bump up again.
Garrett Cole's
2021, 22, this year. Yeah. 20 this year, we're seeing that uptick. We're seeing it rise again. And to me, you point the finger at the league. I agree. I don't blame the pitch clock. I think the pitch clock is a great move for baseball that has to be done and pitchers have to adjust to. Could we maybe amend the rule where, a couple times a game, the pitcher can just take a second, they can call time, step off, and, maybe you're limiting mound visits, you're limiting times to throw over. Maybe give them, 2 or 3 times a game where they can just step off and take a minute. Fine. There's a myriad of ways to do this, but too many guys are pushing it and they're pushing it too hard and they're pushing it too early. I think you look at, I watched Framber Valdez, if his first game of the year against the Yankees. This is the first game of the year, coming out right out of spring training. Guys usually ramp up, are still ramping up first couple of weeks of the season. These pitchers, you're not throwing 100 pitches, 100 plus pitches. You're kind of still getting your stuff. But he came out, he was throwing a wiffle ball out there. The guy was throwing his two seamer or whatever. It's just it's moving in ways that a baseball isn't really supposed to move. And sticky stuff, no sticky stuff, whatever he's doing. And the Astros have been a big team, an organization that has emphasized spin rate more so than any other team, I'd say. I mean, Garrett Cole
The
went
Rays.
there and started it. The Rays as well. And you look at the Rays, all of their pitchers are getting hurt. Spin rate's great, but it doesn't mean shit if you can't pitch. It's hurting these players' arms. The teams and the players, while you can point the finger at the league, and the league needs to start making some compromises, and maybe it's more conformity or uniformity with the baseball. Maybe it's allowing spider tack or a certain amount, like baseball, like the hitters can use a certain amount of pine tar
Not
on the
even that.
bat.
The sunscreen and rosin, like, I mean,
Let them use sunscreen and rosin. Let them get a grip on the ball, because this is what I think that's the biggest contributor. It's a combination of spin rate and these guys not really knowing how the baseball is going to feel. That's the big complaint. They're saying, "Oh, this baseball feels not like nothing. The other one feels great." So, they're Glass now said this. You're squeezing the ball harder, and he's a guy who with the Rays, came up, looked great, got hurt, and now he's with the Dodgers, and he had a great start just now. But I mean, I feel like it's only a matter of time with him. He's had a couple. I think, is he a two-time Tommy John guy? He's at least
I
one.
don't know yet. I don't know. If not, he's probably cruising for it because of what he
Yeah,
said.
yeah. But I mean, to me, it's the combination of that. So you can blame the league, and I think they need to be a little bit looser on letting these pitchers get a grip of the ball. But you gotta, I think, chill a little bit on the spin rate and trying to make the ball move in ways that it's just your arm is not intended to be doing this.
Well, that's how you get paid these days.
But
That's how you get paid these
but
days.
maybe,
That's why the pitchers are
like,
doing it.
oh, I get that. But if you can get paid, sure, but if you can't stay on the field, your career is going to be quite short. So
Well, and
maybe
that's
figure
where I
out how
think
to find the balance there.
you need to call on Major League Baseball. And this is what Strider said was, look, your stars are getting injured. You have the number one comeback player of the year in Bieber. You've got the up and coming Yuri Perez. You've got the best pitcher in baseball in Spencer Strider. You've got all these guys on the shelf with injuries. Framber Valdez is a top 5 pitcher in baseball. Like this, it's not fun for the fans. It's not. And Strider was a 2-time Tommy John guy, which to me it sounds horrible to say.
Yeah.
This guy is an elbow
And
reconstruction
he's
twice.
how old? 20, 23,
Exactly. He
24?
did it
Now,
coming out of college. He didn't have a top prospect pedigree, and that's why he's got tremendous quads because he reinvented himself. I'm going to drive the ball. I'm going to pitch like the guys used to pitch back in the day. It's not going to be all elbow stress, but with the pitch clock, I mean, a guy who's previously had Tommy John surgery, the wear and tear can get to you as quick as
yeah,
you have to pitch,
yeah,
as quick as you have to be ready and set. Like,
yeah.
you don't get a break. You can only throw over a couple of times, which is, a nice light throw to
Yeah.
see how
But to
your
what you
arm's
said with
doing.
Strider, he was a guy who didn't have the crazy pedigree.
Because he
But
had Tommy John in college.
well, yeah, but at one point, like, yeah, that's how you got paid. And look, did he get paid? I think the Braves gave him a decent contract. I'm not gonna look it up right now, but he got to where he is by doing that. And great, good for him. But this is why he's getting hurt. So it's the price that these guys are going to pay. It's, do you try to make the big leagues without putting your arm at risk, or
You can't.
there's some guys
Yeah.
out there who, but then become a pitcher, learn the art of pitching, be a
It
be a
won't
better
that's
pitcher,
gonna
be
that's gonna take
effective.
years to unlearn and undo or whatever though. Because you got kids trying so damn hard to throw as hard as they fucking can in high
But it's
school
hurting
as a
them.
prospect.
It's there has to be an
What you
adjustment.
got to do though. It's what you got to do. It's what's been promoted by the league. And I mean, even what Strider said something about, just I think the reason that this has become such a big thing is because of the change in the pitch clock. Okay, we implement it, but we're going to drop it 3 seconds. We've accomplished, Spencer Strider said they accomplished everything that they wanted to accomplish. why are we doing this without a conversation? Why are we making changes without a conversation? And overwhelmingly, the players are like, hey, this is bullshit. This
Yeah.
is kind of crappy that we did this. Zero conversation. We're just having what I guess Joe Torre smooth the bumps over for Major League Baseball on their behalf. Like
Yeah.
at the same time, like it was the biggest change outside of instant replay that baseball has ever seen. Why are we tweaking it 1 year in? Why are we trying to reduce it 1 year in? You got games to under 3 hours. You got games to under 2.5 hours. You got games to flow better. You got fan interest. You got everything you wanted. Are you that greedy that we need to go ahead and bring it down a little bit further so we can have another 30-second advertising slot at the expense of the players? I don't know. I don't know. But even Garrett Cole said, look, 5 years down the road is when we'll know what the ramifications are here.
Yes.
Not
So
now,
that's another reason why, I don't think you can blame the pitch clock right now. I think it's a rash of
but
all
you
of
can
these things.
speculate about it.
Well, sure, but I don't have a problem with the pitch clock. I think that can be easily adjusted to. It's what these guys are doing, the emphasis on spin rate and ramping up so quickly. Look at Shane Bieber. Look at Bieber. He had an off year last year. He
Well,
knew he knew he was going into a contract year. He knew he had to be at his best. So he stepped it up. He pushed himself. He looked phenomenal, but he couldn't do it. His arm broke down, and
yeah, because he's
that's the
got to keep
price
up
that
with
you
the
have to pay.
Joneses. But
But
this is what's being
you don't
promoted.
have to keep up
You
with the
do.
you're the elite of the elite. You're a number one, number two
You
starter
just
in
said
the major
contract
leagues.
contract year though.
Yeah, look,
It could all
yeah,
be
but
over.
everybody that you shouldn't be putting your arm at risk, and then you're screwing yourself over. You have to
You
find the
have to.
balance. You can't push it. And he was striking out like 10, 11 guys a game. Maybe he
Right.
should have been able to figure this out without like he was
The
clearly
league
pushing
needs
it
to help
and too
assist finding
quickly.
that balance, though. What's being promoted from a very, very young age is spin rate and velocity, and that's it. It doesn't matter. If you're a lefty, that's definitely a positive. But outside of that, who's looking at what? And who cares? They're using sticky stuff in high school all the time. And then things change. They're changing from metal bats to wooden mats. There's no continuity here, and baseball has to bridge the gap. Major League Baseball has to bridge the gap because they set the precedent for minor league baseball. They said, well, actually, recently, minor league baseball has been setting the precedent for Major League Baseball, which I don't really agree with. So I get that there's maximum effort and everything, but at the same time, it's because that's what's been promoted for the last 20 years. Those are the guys getting paid. Those are the guys getting opportunities. Those are the guys getting promoted. So Shane Bieber, who's looking for his next team, probably because the Guardians won't pay anybody anything,
Well,
he's got to come out firing and he's got to do it. But there's less mound visits, there's less coaching time, there's less time in general for spring training for guys to get out there. The teams baby these guys and their arms aren't ready to go full tilt. So I get what you're saying, but at the same time, Major League Baseball is still responsible for bridging the gap between players playing to the rules and players playing within those rules and players
agree.
and their
Yes.
performance on the field of
Emma,
Major League Baseball.
ultimately, they are responsible. I don't think it comes down to the pitch clock. That's my bottom line. I think it comes down to you're making these changes, you have to adjust and you have to adjust some things. And I think also you just said the Guardians, Bieber's like, I know I'm not getting paid by this team. Why not? You got billionaire owners. Spend the money on this guy. This guy's homegrown. He's put you on the
I'd
map.
love a
He's been your
salary
ace.
cap.
Go and pay him.
I'd love a
You have the
salary cap, but
money.
we can defer $700 million to another guy with an arm
That's a
injury and
problem.
Shohei Ohtani.
That's the
Exactly.
deferral's a
So Major
problem.
League Baseball, the reason the pitch clock's under fire is because they reduced the fucking clock with zero proof and then just said, deal with it, motherfuckers. That's it. Like that's what Major League Baseball did, and that's why there's pushback.
I'd
But
be I'd be in favor of a salary cap over replace the luxury tax
yeah,
with a salary cap because the
exactly.
luxury tax
You
is
realize this hurts the Yankees, though, right?
yes, but
Okay.
the luxury tax is already hurting the Yankees and well this deferral thing is now a way kind of around it. But
Yeah,
the
I think
reason
that'll
that
spur some
but
change.
it's hurting the Yankees, but it's also hurting the players. The reason that Montgomery and Snell didn't get a big contract is because the Yankees couldn't afford that contract because they're paying double they were in the tax bracket now where whatever they pay is double what the Giants had to pay because of their payroll.
Yeah, and
So
that's the
now,
whole
now
point.
they're not
Money.
spending. They're not going to give him a big contract. So this is hurting the players more than anything. You
Well,
so
it's hurting
the
the
players
wallet.
union is going to need to like say, okay, take the luxury tax away. If we put a salary cap in, put it at this because the players don't. The players are the ones that don't want
Of
the
course.
cap. So we want to protect the players. If you think a cap is gonna help, I don't know. It's got to be a high cap, but it's gotta you got to do something to force these cheap billionaires that own these teams to actually pay these guys.
I
That's
think one
that's
of the
to me the one of the bigger issues.
I agree, and of course, being a small market fan, like I want the Yankees capped, cap them. I love penalizing, the Mets for what
But
they
the
did
panel,
last year and it didn't work. I
yeah,
love penalizing the Dodgers for what they did that it didn't work. But I mean, I don't mean to cut you off, but
yeah,
at the same time, like I would love that. I think that would be great for the sport. I think what's really happening is there's guys that they don't want to invest in a pitcher like this. It's an unknown commodity. Jordan Montgomery could get hurt, and then you're on the hook for a 10-year contract when that guy just did exactly what you said and worked his ass off in the playoffs last year. He might have hurt his arm. Who knows? I'm not going to invest in it. So at the same time, I mean, I don't feel bad for that guy. He's getting $25 million in 1 year. It's essentially a franchise tag. It's the same exact thing you would get in a football situation.
yeah. It, it comes down to a lot of people have to be held accountable for this. It's the league ultimately coming to an agreement with the players union to figure this out, and they have to. But it's not to me. The pitch clock is the small sliver of the pie. And go ahead.
I will say one thing that happened in this offseason too that nobody's really talking about is the Valley Sports bankruptcy, and all the regional sports networks that teams basically didn't have a quantifiable amount of money to be able to spend this offseason. So I don't blame the pitch clock or injuries or anything like that for what happened this offseason or Boris. I mean, of course, it's easy to blame. I will blame Boris. You guys a clown, but at the same time, like there's teams like San Diego who all of a sudden their network provider went bankrupt and they're not going to get money from them. So baseball is on the cusp of some sweeping, I think, corporate changes that need to happen, as opposed to changes that need to happen on the field. I think they put themselves in the spotlight, reducing the pitch clock for zero reason, zero benefit, other than to get more advertising or a shorter game. So, and it's easy to blame. It's easy to blame now, but there are other factors. So I can agree to disagree with you on that, especially when it comes to the overanalyzation of teams like the Rays and whomever of, spin rate and all these things that are quantifiable now in baseball that you get paid based on too.
I want to make it clear on my salary cap stance. The cap should be high because these guys deserve to not be losing money on their contract.
For
So the
sure.
cap could be set here where say 300 million where the Yankees and Dodgers are spending. Fine, do that, and now you have that cap, and now hey, it's on these small teams, these guys who are they're still they're
Generate
small
that
market
revenue.
teams.
Yeah, I
You're
got you.
still billionaires here. I mean, this you spend some money. I mean, invest in your team and win. That's I know there's a disparity with big market and small market. I get it, and you got to do something to even it out. But you
Well, the
look at the
big difference
Rays
with
and
TV
you look at those
contracts.
other teams. It's time to spend some money and on your players and build your team.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think they've skated by for too long. The Orioles, probably the last team that's going to be able to tank to improve the way that they have. And I
Yeah.
think there needs to be changes that need to be made at a macro level. And that'll trickle down to the business of baseball and the way that we're seeing people get hurt at a high level. I mean, the emphasis, like I said, coming out of high school, it's velo and spin rate, and that's it. Nobody cares about you unless you play in a showcase. Your parents pay a lot of money and you can throw the ball hard as hell. You're a lefty and you can spin the ball. Nobody cares about you otherwise. That's it. Like it's a trickle down effect that we're promoting because the guys that are getting paid at the major league level, that's what they're doing. The guys that are getting drafted, that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
So some changes to that stuff, I mean, definitely would be tremendous. But right now, what's happening on the micro level is the sticky stuff and the pitch clock.
Yeah. I want to bring up one more thing with this too.
Go ahead.
Alex Wood, a veteran pitcher, brought up a good point too. And I think what we've seen and why we're talking about this right now is it's all happening right now, really fast. All of a sudden, 6, 7 big names are down. And obviously, trickled from last year, you had some big names, Verlander, etc. Not all elbows, but big names were hurt. Alex Wood is saying, when he started, and he's a veteran, he's been in the league for a while.
Terrible mechanics.
Um, sure, but he's been an effective starting pitcher for years now. And he said when he first came into baseball in 2012, as soon as the season ended, we wouldn't really touch a baseball until December. He said he knew some guys that wouldn't even throw a bullpen until February. Now these young players, he said what he said is if you told a young player today that they had to take 8 to 10 weeks off throwing in the off season and couldn't touch a mound until at least the middle of January, they would think you crazy. So that there's an uptick right there, and I don't know what is this that pressure of being like that, or once you make once you're in the minors, once you're in the system, why not take a little bit more time? Don't go
You can't take
24/7. Why not?
time. Oh, I got you. Time
No,
in the
yeah, like you said, don't throw until January,
You got to play
February.
in the
Don't
Arizona Fall League. You got to play in the Cape Cod League. You got to
you
play in
don't
the
have
Dominican
to.
Summer League. You got to play in the Venezuelan League. You have to be exposed. Some of these guys have to. Not
Once you're in,
everybody's
I feel like
Jackson
once you're
Howell.
in the system, it's just about the results when the season starts. And if you're getting yourself prepared and healthy to go out there and pitch 20, 30 games as a starter, that's the most effective thing that you can do. Now, obviously, you have to be effective, but
Right.
to go out there and be healthy and effective, then you're cream of the crop right now. So the guys, they have to find a balance. Major League Baseball has to figure out some things and give them more lenience and help them out with the baseballs, especially. Mm, I'll
But they're
give you
taking things
the I'll
away
give you the
more and more.
reduction of the pitch clock. I don't think that was necessary. I'll give you that. I think the pitch
Yeah,
clock in general has been great, but you didn't need to cut it right away again.
right.
It's just
And I
that push,
agree.
that
I
push.
like the pace. I like the pace of the pitch. I came around to it. I'm a traditionalist. I hated instant replay up until like 5 minutes ago. But there's no reason to like reduce it and just like Garrett Cole said, we're not going to know until 5 years down the road, until there's enough data,
Right.
until there's something like that. Smart guy, right? Why are we reducing it? Why are we making changes just blindly? And there's a whole list that takes up an entire page here that I wrote down of guys with shoulders, elbows, obliques, just injuries that probably could have been avoided by just giving them a freaking breather for a second.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyhow,
Yeah. All right.
moving.
Yeah. So they do want to keep going with baseball, and we're what, 2 weeks in now? We're seeing some guys really showing out. Yeah, these all these injuries, this guy struggling, whatever. There's a lot of guys who are performing at a very high level right away. Some of them are surprises, and I wanted to play a little guy or dude.
I'm just a regular, everyday, normal guy. Nothing special about me.
How do you do, dude?
He's a dude.
To move like that.
Corn Pop was a bad dude.
I got 3 names. We don't have to spend a ton of time on them, but I'm gonna give you the name and kind of what they've been doing, and I want you to, let me know. Are they really that dude, or are they just a guy who's hot?
All right, let's see it.
My first guy
Here.
here, my first guy here is Spencer Steer. Now, Steer on the Reds has been one of the hottest hitters in baseball, and he was a guy in fantasy circles who he had a nice year last year, but he was drafted pretty late. He was a 12th rounder in our 10-team league. I mean, the guy was going pretty for a very affordable price. Right now, over the season, he's got 49 at bats, 3 homers, 18 RBIs, hitting 367, 43 OBP, tearing the cover off the ball in what is now a fun, impressive Reds offense. Got 6 doubles. I mean, he's slugging 714. I mean, he looks great. He's playing every day. They've had some injuries there that kind of open the way for him to play every single day. Jonathan India's not really doing much, so I mean he's a key cog to this Reds lineup right now. He's 26 years old. He was a third round pick, not a top pick. He wasn't a guy who people were projecting as a middle of the lineup guy, as a dude. He's performing like one right now, but long term, full season, is Spencer Steer now a dude in the Reds lineup?
Well, you talked about his pedigree, so I can't go there. Third round pick, played at Oregon. He's basically the positionless guy in the Cincinnati offense, though. So while he's performing like a dude right now, I'm gonna say he's a guy until he's on a team that knows where he's gonna play and where he's gonna fit long term. I think right now the Reds have, one of those good situations to have where they have too many guys that can perform for too few of positions. And Steer, thankfully, is, able to play multiple positions and still hit at a high level. So yeah, definitely underlying dude numbers there. But overall, I'm gonna say until this guy has an everyday position, he has an everyday guaranteed slot in his own lineup. I can't call him a dude, right? He might be performing like a dude, but I think he's gonna end up being a guy. I think that's what I'm gonna end up calling him right now at the very least. But it's a good thing to be part of that Cincinnati lineup, and you see better pitches. You get more RBI opportunities. When people on the base paths are running like crazy, like Elly De La Cruz, like you just get a pitcher who's distracted, and you get better opportunities. So I can't call him a dude yet. Definitely love him for fantasy this year. I think he's incredible, especially the position eligibility and everything. But until he, out hits Encarnacion Strand for a couple years, Elly De La Cruz, the other people that they have there in that infield. I know Jonathan India is he's kind of like the lost guy in this whole situation. They just kind of want to move on from him.
Yes,
But until then, I can't call him a dude. I have to stick with Guy. He's a great player, but he's not projected for anything right now in terms of position.
To me, watching Spencer Steer, looking at his minor league numbers, what he did last year, what he's doing right now, this guy's a dude. And he settled into left field in Cincy. They're kind of giving him that position. He's played there 15 games this year. That's the spot he's going at. He still has the versatility. He can play first, third. But this guy is just mashing the ball, and he's done it. He's been very consistent in the minor leagues, and what he did last year was pretty much what he was doing in the minors. That's enough for me to be a dude in the middle of a lineup, in the middle of a very good lineup like the Reds have. I think he can do this consistently. He's 26. I think he could do this consistently for if they let him, if they want him there. Like that's a middle of the order left fielder for a long time if they want it. I'm impressed. I think he's a dude.
All right. Agree to disagree on that one.
Time will tell. Time will tell. I got another one for you.
Okay.
This dude is absolutely mashing the ball.
Uh-oh.
I know you're a fan.
What was that?
Tyler O'Neill.
Oh.
7 home runs already. Unless he hit 8 today. I mean, he's been hitting a home run basically every game. But he's only got 8 RBIs. I mean, he's hitting a lot of solo shots. But he's hitting over 300. His OPS through the roof. We know he's got the power to do this. But is Tyler O'Neill a dude, or is he just a guy who's hot right now?
So I'm gonna go dude. I'm a big fan of Tyler O'Neill. I think he's incredible. I think health has been his big issue in the majors. It's play a full season and then show me your numbers. We've got so many partial seasons on him that it's like, can we piece this together or whatever? But I think you get a full opportunity to see him here this year. You're going to see dude numbers. He's batting, I believe, number 2, at least what I saw in the Boston lineup against against Baltimore, and he was mashing. I mean, he's cranking home runs left and right. He's got the power speed combo before the power speed combo was cool. He might steal, 15 bases, something like that. Nothing incredible, but he plays a good outfield. And he's got the power and he's locked in. And like the way that he's locked in right now is the way that I've heard him talked about in the past. So I believe it. There's been enough Tyler O'Neill hype from when he was with the Cardinals coming up or whatever that I think now change of scenery, health, he's going to turn into a complete dude. And part of the reason they were okay with moving on from Verdugo is because I think they thought that they had a better guy waiting in the wings who could take over one of the corner outfield spots. And I think he's been incredible. So I'm a big fan of Tyler O'Neill. He's just a regular standard dude, but I think he's going to put up dude numbers if he can get a full season under his belt with Boston.
I think he could put dude numbers in Boston, but I don't think he is a dude because of the injuries and the consistency and what we've seen. What we've seen at 28 years old now, he's been in the big since 2018. He's played over 100 games 1 year. That was his great season in 2021, where he was the dude, 34 homers, 286 average, 912 OPS. That's he's got it in him. But I just don't think when all's said and done, the guy can do this for consistently over, say the next 5 to 10 years.
We'll see. This is the prime 28, age 28 season, right? From here to about 33 is what I'll be evaluating for him. And I think he's going to end up being a dude.
Yeah, we'll see. Time will tell with O'Neill as well. But we've touched on two guys that they're right on that border. And I got one more interesting one that I wanted to get your 2 cents on. And I think I've made up my mind on him already. Garrett Crochet of the White Sox. I admittedly completely slept on this guy. I wasn't targeting him in fantasy. I didn't know too much about him, but wow. I watched highlights of his first start and I was like, oh, he looks like a dude. His presence he's a tall guy, he's a big guy. He has the pedigree. He was a first round pick, 11th overall by the White Sox. I think the White Sox have a dude right here in Garrett Crochet. I'm going to come out and say it. Throws 96, 97 consistently. He's got a slider and a cutter. So he's going both ways there. He's deceiving hitters. He's off to a great start this season. He's striking out 12 and a half batters per 9 right now.
Insane.
He looks, and I think he is an absolute dude. What do you think about Crochet?
I completely agree.
Yeah.
I think absolute dude. The leg kick. I love the presence. I love that you talked about the way that he looks on the mound. I think there were a lot of people that were distracted by the Michael Kopechs throwing 100, 101. Didn't really see this guy kind of come up behind him or whatever. I'm a fan, man. I am a big fan. The White Sox had a big down year in general for almost every player aside from Luis Robert last year. And, I think and Jake Berger, who they traded, but I think Garrett Crochet comes in, he's got a presence. I love his mechanics. I love the way he works. Like you said, he's got inside outside stuff and he's been baffling people. That K per 9 is ridiculous. I mean, he's double-digit Ks in 2 out of 4 starts this year, I believe.
Yes.
I have him on 2 out of 4 fantasy teams too, and I'm pumped about it. Like he's great. And I think, it's one of those things where you don't realize what you have until you let it loose. And I think that he's letting loose. He's pitching like he's got, no expectations. And now he's certainly building some expectations of himself every start. But yeah, I mean, I'm a fan. I mean, he doesn't go too deep just yet because he was kind of not stretched out, I think. But eventually, I mean, if he can get up to, 6 innings doing what he's doing with that K per 9 or whatever, man, that's going to be elite. Like that's going to be elite for hopefully a long time until his elbow blows out because of the pitch clock.
I think definitely the pitch clock.
Totally.
I think he got typecast as a reliever, a closer, they looked at him throwing 100 out of the bullpen,
Him and Kopech.
and
The opposite.
I went the opposite way because he came in his first year was 2020. He only pitched 6 innings, but he was coming out of the pen and throwing 100. Then the velocity he still was out of the bullpen in 2021. Velocity dipped down a little bit. But he was effective, but he was wild. So that right there is okay. This guy's a reliever, whatever. I don't know what happened last year. I don't know if did he get hurt? I didn't really. He fell.
I'm
off
telling you, nobody in the White Sox organization took anything seriously last year. That's literally what the one reliever who went to the Astros said. Like, it was people sleeping in the bullpen. There was no, it was,
Yeah.
there was, Tony La Russa left this thing kind of in shambles for Grifald to kind of inherit. And I think this year is now the year you're going to see this is what we have. This is what it's going to be. And going forward, last year was kind of an anomaly for the White Sox, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's fair. I think what they did last year with Crochet's were they kind of were trying to turn him into a starter, and it's worked.
He's good, man.
He's looked just the president. He looks legit, and I'm mad at myself for sleeping on the guy. But I'm gonna be looking at his K props and his starts and well, as I'm placing bets this season because I want to benefit from how good he is. I think he's a legit dude.
The book's gonna catch up eventually.
Yeah, no, they'll catch up and hitters will adjust. There'll be that period, but I love what I see. I'm impressed. So, all right, that was Guy or Dude. That was a good one. You disagreed on 2 of them, but we both like Crochet. So, all right, we've talked a lot of baseball. It's been a great conversation. I do want to talk NBA and a little bit of the bracket, which was released today. It was finalized. Chris, if you want to go on Twitter right now and go to the NBA Twitter and pull it up.
I've got it.
He's got it.
It looks confusing with all the arrows of the win-loss goes here, goes there.
Yeah. So I've been looking at it. I put together a little LFG or Nabi.
Oh boy.
To go through the bracket, and I've got some questions, and I want to hear your thoughts. Now I know you haven't been deep into the NBA season, but I'd still like to hear your thoughts, and I'll share mine as well. And the seeding's interesting. Now, last year the big thing was the Heat. They made that run out of the play-in and made it to the finals. What I want to know is, can the Heat or can any of these other play-in teams replicate what the Heat did? And will a play-in team make the finals again? Or will these play-in teams fizzle out? You got in the East, the Bulls, the Hawks, the Sixers, and the Heat. And in the West, you got the Kings, the Warriors, Pelicans, and the Lakers. Some good teams in there.
Yeah.
Do one of them make a run and get to the finals?
I think they could one of these teams could totally replicate what the Heat did. And I give Adam Silver a lot of credit. The play-in tournament, one of the best things that he's done for NBA basketball. In-season tournament, we'll see. Whole bunch of other things that he's done, we'll see. But this is one of the cool things. And I look at the teams that are in this play-in tournament. Specifically, you can't overlook the Heat for what they did last year. The 76ers with Embiid back finally for the playoff run, they can make a push there. The Lakers with LeBron can't count them out. The Warriors can't count them out. The Kings can't count them out for what they did last year. I think this is exciting basketball, and I think totally LFG. Any play-in team here can make this type of run that we saw the Miami Heat make last year. And the continuity of them getting to continue to play and not wait. There's no resting, whatever. NBA players love their rest. But at the same time, you look at the teams that are in the play-in tournament right now, there's totally people that can make a run. So I'm LFG on this all the way.
All right. I'm gonna go Nabi. I think these teams get shut down pretty quick. And look, the big pick is, of course, the Sixers or the Heat. And the Knicks are going to play one of those two teams in the first round. And you know what the Knicks are going to do? They're going to beat either. Whoever's in there, the Knicks are putting them down and making a statement. You can put it on the books right now. My Knicks are not going out in the first round. I don't give a shit if it's the Heat, if it's Embiid and the Sixers, who they've handled all year, with or without Embiid. The Heat, honestly, scare me a little bit more on that front, just because of Spoelstra and how much I respect him as a coach. I think he's the best in the league. That one, I think, will be a dogfight. But the Knicks will triumph. Those teams will get quelched. I think both of those teams. I think it's both the quelched. Yeah, you like that?
Love
Like
that.
I think it's both the Sixers and Heat make it in the East, because I think whoever loses that game between them beats either the Hawks or Bulls, and then goes on to lose to the Celtics. I don't see this. I don't see a repeat with the Celtics here. I don't think they're one and done. I think they're a much better team. And then the
For sure.
West, in the West, I want to say the Lakers or the Kings or the Warriors could topple OKC. But I look at the Nuggets ain't losing in the first round. I don't care who's across from them. OKC's a young squad who got the first seed and don't have the experience, but I think they still beat whoever they face, whether it's the Lakers, whether it's the Pels. And I shouldn't be disrespecting the Pels. They're actually the highest seed out of the year. They're a very good team too. But I do not think that any of the playing teams can make it to the finals.
Well, I mean, the
I
path
said
that they have to take is
B.
definitely tough, but
B.
yeah, well, whatever. Agree to disagree on this one.
B. All right, I got two more for you. Simple questions here. The Nuggets will return to the NBA Finals. LFG or not be? I'll go first.
Yeah.
LFG. The Nuggets are making it back. I don't think anybody stops Jokic. The only thing that stops Jokic is himself. Maybe he gets tired. He's like, I don't really feel like doing this again. And somebody
I don't think
beats
that's
him.
going to happen.
I don't think so either. He's a pro. He's too good. I think they're back in the finals. What do you think, Christopher?
I'm gonna go with the field on this. As much as I do like the Nuggets, I'm gonna go with the field because the
Says
West Coast,
Nabi.
the Western Conference has more 50-win teams than the Eastern Conference does.
Yeah, more consistency.
And it's just a tougher road. So I'm gonna go with not B, just because it's probably harder to do than you really actually think or realize, or most people really think or realize.
It's really hard.
Yeah, you're gonna end up possibly with the Lakers or the Pelicans first round. You're gonna end up with, what is it, the Timberwolves or Suns the second round. Both are, Suns 49 wins, Timberwolves 56 wins. And then you ultimately got the Thunder too. Eventually, you got to go through, which I think I trashed on our preseason thing, but Chet Holmgren is legit, and the Thunder are legit. The West is harder to win than it is the East, so I'm gonna go with the field on this one. I'll go with Nabi.
All right, fair enough. I wanted to go bold there. I think the Nuggets, they're just so good, and Jokic is so good.
They're awesome.
I think they're back, but there's so many teams that are good in the West. It's. I mean, the Suns are a 6 seed. They're stacked.
Kind of
The
wild.
Mavs are 5th seed with Luka and Kyrie, and the Clippers. It's just, the West is stacked, so it's gonna be a tough road. It's gonna be a tough road. Whoever wins out and plays the Knicks in the finals, they're gonna have. It's gonna be a tough one. It'll be fun though. All right, I got one more for you. LFG or Nabi? The Boston Celtics do not make it to the NBA Finals again. LFG or Nabi?
Wait, do not make not be.
Yeah, I did a little.
Boston Celtics make it. I'm sorry.
They're making it.
They're making it. Yeah, they're the best team out of the East. I just said the East has worse records than the West. The East is more predictable, in my opinion. The Heat don't have it this year. They're not going to make that run. Like you said, your Knicks are going to knock off the 76ers if it happens anyway. And the Knicks have struggled with the Celtics this year. So
Not last game. Not last time.
touche. Yes, of course.
Celtics played
But
some mind games too. They acted like they were going to sit Drew Holiday and KP. They were basically like listed as out, and then all of a sudden, a couple hours before game time, oh, everybody's playing, and they
Psych
all
out.
played and they all lost. Maybe they psyched
Yeah.
themselves out.
Yeah, no, totally fine. But I honestly think that they have the one piece that they were missing the past couple years. As long as Jaylen Brown doesn't become turnover machine that he's become in the playoffs recently, and Jason Tatum stays Jason Tatum, Porzingis doesn't get hurt. I think that the Celtics. I don't want to say they're a lock to make it to the finals, but I think that that's where the smart money goes.
Lock-a-doodle do, as you say.
Doodle do, baby.
All right. I say nah. I say
Nah.
oh wait. I did reverse psychology on that one. Or LFG, they don't make it. Yeah, LFG, the Celtics don't make the NBA Finals again. LFG.
He doesn't even
Took
know
me a
it's been
minute on
called.
that one. Took me a minute, but Nabi, the Knicks are doing it. I'm all in, baby. I have to be. I've never been this excited for the Knicks. If the Knicks don't do it, I think somebody else beats the Celtics.
Do you think that the Knicks are stronger without Julius?
No, because they're not as deep. And Julius, before the injury, was playing the game we needed him to play.
Right.
Since the OG, not the OJ. We didn't want to talk about OJ. RIP. Um, since the OG trade, when Randall was healthy, he was playing the game that I've been wanting to see him play. He was banging inside, and he wasn't taking a ton of threes because they don't need him to take threes. They have the shooters. He was playing great game. I think I really, I would say the Knicks were a lock to make the finals with a healthy Randall. But I think the key there is obviously Jalen Brunson's taken it to another level lately, and OG is healthy and he can lock down the best player on any other team, any opponent. He can shut him down. So I'm seeing it every time out. The guy's unbelievable. If their shooters are hitting, like if DiVincenzo's hot, if McBride's hot, if Bogdanovich is hot, and Jalen is putting up 30, 40 a game like he's been doing, if he just gets a little bit of help, which he did not get last year against the Heat, Knicks will make that one.
In my opinion, for the Knicks, the X factor is going to be Mitchell Robinson and whoever accounts for the down low play that is left by Julius Randle, who you said finally kind of played into that role this year and they were clicking. Mitchell Robinson came back at the right time though, and OG can account for some of those rebounds too. But I think that's the X factor. I will say I am ready to call Jalen Brunson. He's a baby superstar. He's a baby superstar. But at the end of the day, I'd rather have the ball in his hands than anybody else's hands. And without Randall, it just makes sense. So I like them going in as a tournament team. Kind of reminds me of like the NCAA tournament, good guard play. You know, you want ball movement, you want offensive rebounding. I think that the Knicks have that, but I just think Boston's too talented.
Fair enough.
Let's go Knicks.
Let's go Knicks. Baseball underway. NBA playoffs about to start. NHL playoffs starting a week or two. It's a very, very exciting time to be a sports fan, to be a gambler. We're making our picks on SoBet. We're focusing on baseball. That's our sport. We're doing okay. We got to figure some things out. But overall, doing okay. I think I'm up a unit on my picks, around 500. I've been hitting on the player props. Hit on Altuve over 1.5 total bases today, and I like the total bases bet because if you think a guy's gonna have a big game, you're not getting good money on betting on them to get a hit.
No, not at all.
And betting on them to get an RBI or a home run, it's a little random. The total bases is just kind of your way of, you can get that if they get 2 hits. You can get that if they get 1 double, any extra base hit. Obviously, a home run today, Altuve, first at bat, home run.
Yeah, great pick.
Cash. And yeah, hindsight, would I have loved to picking the hit a home run? Sure, but you're not winning those bets most of the time. You could sprinkle a little bit in there, but I like putting a unit on the total bases. You're getting plus money for the most part. I got plus 140 on that one today.
Solid.
So it's been going well. On the player props especially.
You've been
We
good at
we
the no run first inning, the nerf five.
it's I've hit on I think two of them. That's another thing that like it's a fun bet. It's very fun, but it's so random because you could have two aces on the hill. One of them could just get tacked for a quick home run, and then they could go with six scoreless back and just battle. And that's you lost, even though your bet was these pitchers are going to dominate. So I like the first five. That's something I've been looking at.
Right.
Now the one thing that's been killing the unders, which I stopped taking the unders on that, if I like the pitching matchup, is because third time through the order, guys are getting tagged a little bit. So I've seen it. I lost a couple of those in the fifth inning.
Yeah.
And it's tough. So I've been looking at first five um run line, which is usually just a half. So if you like an underdog and you like their starter, you can get them at plus a half on the first five and decent points. All they have to do is either be tied or be winning. You just can't be losing.
Right.
So
No,
it's
it's a
it's
great bet. It's
yeah,
fantastic. Honestly, I think it's one of the best ways to bet baseball because all you know in terms of pitching is who's starting. You don't know who's going to come in after that. You can't match up numbers. You can't, and like you said, I'm a big third time through the order guy. If you can't get through the order three times, you're not an elite pitcher. If you don't get better, obviously not too many people do get better the more that they're seen, the more their stuff is seen. But
yeah,
you got guys like, we're talking about no run first inning. Corbin Burns gives up what, three first inning home runs?
yeah,
But then afterwards is absolutely electric. And, third time through the order is just getting better and better. He's learning. He's doing better that way.
yeah,
But I like the first five bets that you've been putting out. They've been pretty solid. And like you said, some squeakers that just, even tonight,
yeah,
the Dodgers with Muncy or whatever, it's just,
yeah,
it's unlucky at that point, but you know, you would hope that the manager is on top of it enough, like whoever manages Blake Snell, to know that he can't go in the sixth inning.
yeah.
Um,
That's the
yeah,
thing. And now, I mean, the Padres tied it up in the seventh, and it's frustrating because it was just the timing was off by a guy on one inning, and
right.
I placed a bet based off of you Darvish having great numbers against the Dodgers, and um
You
and James Paxton going for the Dodgers is he's had a nice start to the season, but he's hittable. And he walked eight guys tonight. He walked eight guys. And they squeaked across 3 runs in 5 innings.
How much money he's making a year too? He just got a contract from the Dodgers.
I
Holy
think
shit.
I think they gave him like a 1 year big money deal or something.
Yeah,
It's
the
probably
big
deferred
maple.
till like year
Yeah.
3000.
Kirk Cousins of football of baseball right there.
Well, Jake Cousins is Kirk Cousins' cousin, and he pitched for the Yankees. And he got sent down because he wasn't very good. But
Yeah, he said, golly gee whiz, thanks
golly
for the
gee.
opportunity, guys.
Yeah, got rocked a couple times. Pretty rough. But yeah, I mean, it's been fun making these picks, and we're going to be there all baseball season. I know a lot of guys, a lot of the cappers on there picking everything, and that's awesome. And there's people that want to do that, but I like to focus on what I like. I mean, the Masters was this weekend. Could
Right.
I give you a recommendation on who I like? Sure. I mean, but it's just I'm not watching it. I'm not in it. Scotty Scheffler won, and he was the favorite. Um, he's playing really well. But when I saw him as a big time favorite, and I'm not following golf, and I'm like, I don't know, is Scotty Scheffler really that good? And he's red hot right now, and he looked great. So and he won. So congrats to him. I did not watch much. Actually, not really at all of the Masters, which I usually at least tune in. I don't know. It's just baseball and family.
Been on for me. It's been on for me. And I
In the
mean, you're
background.
either betting if you're betting on golf, you're smart to bet on Scheffler and you're smart to bet on John Rahm, and that's or Xander Schauffele or
Yeah.
this is like the golf back in. There's not that many options anymore, I feel like. DeChambeau went out to a quick start on the Masters or whatever, but obviously this course isn't made for just the power golfer. We've known that since the Tiger Woods era. Augusta's going to be the same Augusta. Tiger made the cut. A lot of money goes towards Tiger whenever he's in it. But at the same time, unless you bet John Rahm or Scotty Scheffler, you were kind of throwing a dart at the board. And that's what golf betting is. I'm happy to see Scotty Scheffler win above some of the live golfers and whatnot. But at the same time, like, that was the smart play the entire time. He was the favorite the entire time. Like, it just it wasn't as fun to see him win. I love when some rando wins. I was hoping for. I'm a big Jason Day guy. I love Jason Day.
I know you do.
Yeah, he's never gonna win, but there's guys out there that come close, like Homa and Hogard or whatever. Like, there's a bunch of guys that kind of came close. Where if you time your cash outs right, it's good to throw a dart at them.
Yeah.
When they're leading. But yeah, no, Scotty Scheffler, Masters, he's incredible. He's number one golfer. He's the best golfer in the world, in my opinion, outside of maybe John Rahm. But it is what it is.
I love Rom. I put a little when I didn't watch much, but before that started, I put a little bit on him to win. I think he was the third or fourth favorite. I'm like, I'll never not bet on John Rahm, and he didn't do
He's
that great,
fantastic.
but he's great. I like Max Homa too. He had a nice tournament, but yeah, just wasn't deep into it. Yanks are playing well. Knicks Islanders making a postseason push. I got a lot to go to watch in the sports world, and I got kickball games to watch now. So I mean,
Yeah, for sure.
there's a lot going on here. But was there anything else over this weekend that you were into, or we got the draft
No,
coming up?
yeah.
Draft is next week.
Yeah, this is exactly what's happening. Every year, one guy shoots up the board. Might be the right guy, might be the wrong guy. The JJ McCarthy hype is through the freaking roof right now. I mean, I'm looking forward to the draft, but at the same time, I'm thinking Commanders end up with Jaden Daniels. Happy about it. Whatever is what it is. But yeah, a lot of spring games this weekend tuned into. Specifically Alabama and Ohio State had their spring games this year. No Nick Saban on the sidelines, very weird. Ryan Day not calling plays for Ohio State, very weird. So yeah, but yeah, it was a fun sports weekend, and that's pretty much what I watched this weekend outside of the Masters.
Yeah, draft is the 25th, so next Thursday. So we'll probably record after the draft Sunday. After the draft, I think that makes the most sense. We'll recap everything, but we won't do a draft preview. Yeah, what's the preview? Like you said, this guy's shooting up the board that probably shouldn't be shooting up the board. So it'll be fun to see.
Yeah, I think
Jets not taking a quarterback is a good thing, I guess.
that is a good thing. That is a good thing. They don't necessarily know how to evaluate those guys, but
Zach
neither
Wilson's
does my team.
Still a Jet as of now. I mean, they're not getting anything for him. They're trying to trade him. Justin Fields got a 6th-round pick. what are they
I know.
do?
It's ridiculous.
What are they going to get for Zach Wilson?
What are you going to do with Zach Wilson? Like, that man needs to go back to Utah and become an insurance salesman, or you just need
Car
to
salesman.
end up.
He's got the looks. He'll be fine. He'll be fine in there.
Oh, yeah, exactly. I
Looking
don't
guy.
feel bad for this guy. Well, I mean, I honestly, I wanted Zach Wilson on my team, and I would still take him as a backup on my team. But
great arm.
probably done.
Great strong arm. That's all I'll say about Zach. Decision making.
Yeah, no, I can't wait to see how the draft goes in the next couple of weeks. I'm very, very interested to see where Marvin Harrison lands. Very, very interested to see where Odunze lands, the wide receiver from Washington, where Bowers, the tight end from Georgia, lands. These are all guys that are going to land in the between 9 and 15 pick.
That's right, where the Jets pick. So I would take either of those guys you just mentioned.
Those are the make or break picks. Those are the picks where you got to get it right. If you don't get it right, that's what signals the change in GM. Between pick, I'd say 8 and 15 or 16 or whatever. You either trade back or you gotta hit the bullseye on these. Because you're a team that's in the middle of the road. Guess what? You bring in a guy middle of the road talent, you're gonna end up middle of the road again next year. And
Yep.
You really gotta you either gotta
get a
make
stud.
this pick or get the fuck out of that position. So
Yeah, and that's a huge. That's for the Jets right now. They got to hit on this pick. They need an impact player on offense. That's what they
they
need.
don't use the tight end enough to get Bowers, but they should get Bowers.
They should use the tight end more.
Now
I
that they
don't know
get
why they
was
don't.
Tyron Smith, they get a new offensive lineman from the Cowboys, I believe
Yeah.
it was. They shored up the offensive line. They could, of course, use another offensive lineman,
I'd
but
still take one.
Bowers is going to be the best guy on the board when they get there, and it's going to be on them whether or not they want him as part of their offense or not.
Yeah.
Like,
well, I'll take. I mean, if Harrison makes it, or if they trade up to get Harrison, or if Odunze is his name, he falls.
yeah, Dunze's good.
I'll
There's
take-
one
I'll
other
take one
wide
of them.
receiver in there who's pretty good too.
Yeah, I'll take one of those big three. I don't know anybody.
But you guys brought in Mike Williams, so you don't. It's not necessarily a need, right?
If he plays, Mike, I draft Mike Williams in fantasy every year. He gets hurt every year. I don't expect the guy to play.
Don't draft him
Did
this
you see what happened with the Jets last year? They got Aaron Rodgers and he couldn't make it 4 plays. I have no expectations. I have zero expectations.
Jets gonna jet.
My expectations are that the Jets are going to disappoint me again. I'm grateful for the Yankees looking great and the Islanders and Knicks about to be in the playoffs with the Knicks looking really good. What else? My football's on the back burner.
Yeah,
But I'll be watching the draft. It's the NFL draft.
dude, I get so amped for the draft. I watch every pick. I'm just like,
It's fun. It's fun.
I
Dude,
don't
that
get
was
up
the
from the couch.
that
I
was the
love it.
best. Yeah, that was the best sports event of 2020 in COVID. When COVID hit, and I was
For sure.
watching Korean baseball, and I'm like, this is fun. And I just like couldn't really get. But then the draft came, and Roger Goodell was in his living room. But it was fun, and that was like I just remember that being like this feels like sport.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So that kind of got me out of there.
The draft was always the bridge though, because I was like the weird kid that loved Ohio State. Like I was just like a kid loving college football.
Yeah.
And like it was always the bridge between like, oh, I know all these guys, this guy from Michigan State, whatever, between me and everybody else in New York who rooted for the Giants or the Jets or an actual pro team as a normal kid or whatever. So I've always been up for the draft because of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that 2020 draft was like, God, we needed sports.
Yeah.
God, we needed sports. Now it's in Detroit or wherever the hell we want it to be. So
yeah,
we'll see how it goes. But yeah,
that'll be fun.
It's always a fun event.
Yeah, I do think they spread it out a little too much now.
Yeah, 2 days is good.
But
2
they do
days is
3.
good.
Don't they do 3? They do like first round on the
I think
second
round 1 and 2, and then 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, you can get done in a full Saturday.
Yeah, that's fine.
What do we do?
After the 4th round, I mean, yeah,
Even
sure, you're
more
gonna find
people
some
from the
gems.
team,
But,
you have social media influencers coming up and making picks for teams
Yeah.
stuff. So yeah, we don't need
But
that.
great
We don't need
event. It'll be fun. Be watching.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah. All right, Chris. Always a pleasure. Fun episode. Some good debate. Baseball, baby. Baseball. All right, man. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Please like, subscribe on YouTube. Listen on Spotify. Find the pod. Like, listen. We're getting good views on YouTube. I'd like to see some more listens. I want to be in people's ears. Let's go. But it's been fun. I mean, I'm grateful to be doing this with you, Chris. It's just,
Me too.
if not for anything, it's just we're having a blast. So good times. But we're putting everything out there, man. I mean, YouTube, Twitter, TikTok. I'm doing the talks. We're
While
taking
it's illegal.
Yeah, while it's still legal. Yes. So all right, bud. Great talk. Thanks everybody for listening. Hope you have a great night.